Hello, guys. Welcome to the new episode of Dummy Football Podcast. Here, joined by Jordan and Junior. Junior, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Jordan, how you doing?
Great.
All right. So the round of 16 games just finished today. We'll be analyzing those games that just happened, and we'll be analyzing the games for the quarterfinal matchups and how we see each team lining up based on their performance. And we'll also be going into a little bit of transfer news. I know the World Cup has been taking most of our attention, but a couple of stories just to some done deals that have already been made or soon to be made, and talk about some of where we think some of these players that have been performing really well in the World Cup will be going to and how they fit in those teams. Uh, all right, so let's begin with the first matchup, Netherlands USA. Um, I believe I was the only one that had Netherlands beating USA in this game.
Yeah, I was going with my heart, so disappointed me.
Yeah. So very very unfortunate for the USA of Netherlands to get that early goal. It really put the pressure on the USA to really go out there and um, you know, uh, they that sloppy defending at the first half gave them that 2-0 lead, and it just seemed like it was a lot for the USA to come back. Did they equalize it? I believe it was like in the 70th minute, 60th minute, somewhere around there. But then right away, the Netherlands got that third goal and just kind of sealed the things for them. Um, uh, Jordan, I'll go with you first. What your thoughts of this game were?
Well, as an American, it's a real bummer the game.
Yeah.
But and when I look at it through the lens of a club football fan, as an Inter Milan fan, seeing Dumfries having one of his best games, scoring a goal and having two assists, they just couldn't stop the right wing. And when you see the first goal, the problem is that he puts a cross in, and everybody was expecting for a header, so all the defenders go deep, and then he just plays the ball low, and it leaves it opening perfectly for that goal. And you're like, you start to think like, oh, maybe our midfield was there, maybe something would have been better. Maybe if they were more, the center backs didn't just think it was going to go across and stay back a little bit with them. Maybe that could have helped, but at the end of the day, Netherlands were way better. I think the junior told me that the USA, they seemed to him that they were tired because they played with the same group in the midfield, and maybe if they could have changed it around, maybe that could have helped them. Maybe gives the players some rest, which they don't really need rest because they are footballers. They do have the stamina for that, but maybe just
Yeah,
have
but you
maybe
got the
have changed in the formation could have helped them give the Netherlands a new look. But again, they just stuck with the system, which is a pretty good system. But Netherlands were just way better, and you got to give credit to the Netherlands because they dominated. They did what they have done in the past in the 2014 World Cup. But Louis van Gaal, an amazing masterclass of coaching, and it sucks to lose, but it's a great building point because we didn't qualify for the last World Cup. Now we're in the round of 16, and now you see that it going up, the progress of the U.S. players. And I saw something interesting that one player said that the USA really, I think Louis van Gaal said that he saw that when Berhalter gave instructions that the players like listened very intently and they did what he wants. And that's very rare for a coach to have the undivided attention of all 11 players on the field. And he says that that's a really good thing to have as a USA, for the USA, a good building block that the players respect the coach and do what he says and don't go, you don't know anything. But it was a good game all around.
Junior, your thoughts of this game?
what just leaving off where he left off. I think that's good, but also at the same time, it's kind of you saw how different or the difference between a Van Gaal and a Berhalter. You see how well Van Gaal is by playing to hit the US's weaknesses instead of trying to play his own game.
Yeah.
Because they could have played the game and then been with the ball and had the US on the back end, trying to defend. But he was like, "All right, you get the ball, show me what you could do, and then I'll show you how weak like your playing system is."
Right.
So I thought that was really smart of him because I think he like if the US were just to be more pressing, I think it would have been a more difficult game for the Netherlands because they didn't want to be in that scenario, and
Yeah.
letting them run with the ball, I think that really helped. But also, I think the formation would kind of. I still don't. I think that Berhalter, even though how well he did, that shouldn't be another 4 years as well as. He did more than expected. He did win 2 titles with them, but I feel like there's a new change of scenery would be better for the players. Because at the end of the day, the formation and the way their playing style didn't end up coming to fruition. We gave him 4 years, and he got the titles against weaker Mexican side and not as a developed Canadian side. If he were to play like again to this Canadian side, I think it might lose to them. So,
Wow.
what else?
So you
Yeah, just the
thinking
way.
you think Berhalter should be moved on from this U.S.
I
team?
think he will move on. I think he'll be like that was it. I think 4 years is. I think that's pretty enough time
Right.
as a cycle as a coach. I don't know, but at the same time, he's made these players, if you could say so, they played under him for a while. So why not give him,
Right.
another 4 years? But I just think the way he's playing is just it's too pragmatic. And they're not playing to use their strength, which has always been counterattacking. I know we have better players technically on the ball, but at the end of the day, we're not Netherlands. We're not Spain. Don't have those players that just could keep the ball on their feet. And I don't know if you saw, but I was watching the game, and it seemed like the players didn't want their ball. They were like, dude, let's just go on a counter. If we would go on a counter, I think we would have more chances.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Well,
They
when the Netherlands scored the first goal, they scored off a counterattack of taking the ball away, and they did 3 quick one passes to get out of the midfield, and then they played that through ball for him. So I think it was just I think Berhalter tried to press him, and I think it ended up costing them because the midfielders for Netherlands just 3 quick passes, and they got away from the midfield, and they were already behind because they were pressing so high. So I don't think it's the formation or I don't think it was the playing style. I think it's maybe is what you were saying of getting a new coach or a new formation because I think the playing style did cost them. I think the pressing cost them, and it is a thing that we're good at, but it cost us at the end because they got those 3 quick passes to the midfield, and then you score 1 goal with 2 minutes into the game. Now you have to play more at their level. Now you're playing at them. So now they have the advantage there, and they could easily go up. Now you have to attack, and now you have to press more and more. But I think Louis van Gaal just outmatched him tactically in that way.
Yeah, like you said, anytime you play possession football, you're down for a counter because the way your whole players are trying to get on the ball and try to play with the ball.
Yeah.
So that's for everybody, even Spain. Spain suffers the most. That's why we'll talk about Spain in a while, but once you have the ball, you have to be not just having the ball means you're gonna be an attack. It's just the way you're defending. If the other opponent doesn't have the ball, then you're not gonna be attacked. So if you're gonna have the ball, you better not miss a pass. You better know where you're passing the ball, and you have to. And the thing of it is that you don't want to be so passive that you don't create anything. I don't want to 20 passes and it amounts to being countered. What does that do for me?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna have great 20 passes, somebody shoot, please. Long distance, you see a space, and the XG is .001, go for it. Fuck it. You feel like you're confident enough? Give me something. You can't just be on the ball and not create something. You gotta let the players also what's your if I always said him not taking a different type of striker up front is baffling, and him not taking not playing certain players that could give you something different is baffling me. Like Xavi and the way
Another
that
thing that I think was a
Jordan,
problem was
Jordan, you'll have the last comment on this, so we can move on.
I wanted to say the other problem is that we didn't play with our complete team. We were missing Miles Robinson, who got hurt during the MLS season, and I think he was a big part of those 2 wins in the finals
because
for the. And I think another issue was that I think they try to run the offense through Pulisic, and as soon as Weah scores, I think that gives you a thing of knowing maybe we don't play through Pulisic. Maybe we try to get the striker in better positions, because the strikers were very lacking. Whenever they would get the ball, no one else was there, and we had to wait, and then everybody comes, and then he would pass it. But I think a new coach could help, or maybe sticking with him. Like either way, I think we'll do better, because I think there's a big learning moment for the players and the coaching staff.
All right, well, we'll move on to the next game, the Argentina-Australia. Really, there was only one way this game could have gone and should have gone, based on the predictions. Pretty much, yeah, Argentina just, to what we've seen from the Copa America success and what they've been showing lately, just really good defensively and trying to play you guys on the counterattack in a moment of brilliance from, their captain and their greatest player, Leo Messi. Um, Australia got one back late on, a consolation goal, but yeah, very, very good performance. Argentina way better from what we started with, and took their claim as a serious contender for this World Cup. Junior, I'll start with you.
there was a clear favorite, but you saw the game and you clearly saw that they were kind of just trying the same thing. So, and then Australia was prepared for that, and then just a moment of brilliance from Messi, like you said, and like the whole plan was just to cover that thing, and they failed. So if they were had a bit more concentration, I think this game would have been far more difficult for Argentina. And another thing on Argentina, I feel like they're tired of the same thing. Like when you play so many games in a row in such a small span, you're gonna get some tired legs. And the fact that he hasn't rotated much, that he didn't because of his game plan, that he played those 3 group stage matches. I feel like especially you see with DePaul, how tired DePaul was.
Yeah.
I was like, this might cost him, especially with kind of like a fresh-legged Netherlands that they made the U.S. run more than them. So I hope this Argentina, like I said, they're still my favorites, but you can see like the tired legs in them. I feel like maybe if he would have done some other changes in the other games, not let his Layden on.
Yeah.
This Argentina would have looked even better. They have a game plan and they know what they're doing, but it's just, when an opponent plays you a certain way and certain things happen, I feel like it makes it difficult for Argentina. And it goes back to, again, when the pre-Copa America, where Messi was doing everything, is this the same? It feels like the same again. Like if the ball doesn't go through Messi, like this team won't create anything. And that's kind of a bit tiring. So I'm happy that Julian Alvarez has got another goal. I feel like that's another focal point that they should focus on, getting them up here up front. He reminds me a bit, but of like Carlos Tevez and Kun Agüero.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of short and they create their own. They're good with the ball in their feet.
Right, but not that short.
But that's the type of players like they are. I like him more than a Lautaro. I feel like a Lautaro could play more for a counter. Julian Alvarez, if you're going to play possession football, then Julian Alvarez would be better than that.
Yeah, and Argentina, they played the December 3rd. Their next game won't be this Friday, so they would have 6 games of rest. So I think that'll benefit their team. Jordan, your thoughts on this game?
Well, I think you guys explained it perfectly. Just Argentina just continues to win. Even though it was a 2-1, you still felt like Argentina was never going to lose it. And when I think it was Australia, right? When they scored, it was off a deflection.
Yeah, it was an own goal. by Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, that deflection. I think if he kicks it straight onto Martinez, I think he handles it. Martinez hasn't really gotten that much action in these last couple of games, but he does do his due diligence, and he does do the easy jobs of like holding the ball, passing it, kicking it towards the midfield. And Argentina do something that I think every football team should be able to do, which is they circle the ball around, and as soon as they see an opening, they're like, "Oh, let's go." And you're like, "Oh my God!" You're like, "How did they get that space?" And you're like, "Well, they have one of the greatest players with the best vision, Messi, who is just looking around the whole game, telling you like, we'll do this, we'll do that." But yeah, I think they played well. This, like you say, the 6 days will give them a lot of rest for Netherlands, and I think it could be a problem because Netherlands do only have three midfielders, and Dumfries and Blind go up. But I feel like it's like five midfielders basically playing in Argentina because Messi drops down, and then a defender goes up. So it'll be a fun game. I think this must be the game to watch for this quarterfinals.
Yeah,
A must watch.
and not to mention that Di Maria looks like he'll be fit and ready to go for this next game, and that's another, that's a threat that they've been missing this Argentina game. That
Yeah.
Di Maria from the right hand side. That, how we said this team feels like they rely a lot on Messi, even though Julian Alvarez has scored for them and Enzo Fernandez. It feels what when it's 0-0, they rely on the Messi brilliance to kind of open the game up a bit, and so now that the other team is looking to attack, the other players can exploit that. But yeah, I feel like Angel Di Maria in this Argentina team is going to be a
But
crucial
also,
point from this
it comes
point
to
on.
like the way the other teams play them because they know Argentina is gonna be so. I feel like teams are kind of scared, in quote unquote. They know what they could produce an attack, and having a Messi. I mean, we've all seen the video when Atletico Madrid is. I think they were beating Barcelona, and then
Right.
Messi just took on the pitch to
To
warm
warm
up
up.
to get on the pitch, and everybody just roared.
I can already see the highlights. Pedro, Netherlands is scared of Argentina. Of
No,
Messi.
and I think that's in Netherlands, the fans are not scared of a Messi, and that's like the number one thing you. I mean, it's good that you're not scared, but at the same time, it's like you don't know who this player is. Like
Yeah,
he's been playing, he just got man of the match.
that's the thing about these players like Messi, where like on a moment's notice they could just pull something, out of nowhere, moment of brilliance, and left to wonder like that goal from against Mexico where nobody expected that. It was just a real tight angle, a lot of defenders in his face, and he just put that shot real good in the
Yeah,
corner.
well, this goal, his goal, like who was it? I think it was Enzo Fernandez passes it to Papu Gomez, and Papu Gomez has a heavy touch, and Messi just runs in and shoots it. You're like, where did he come from?
Yeah,
He was the one that passed it to Enzo to pass it to Papu, and then he makes that run because it's like he sees it ahead of time.
yeah,
It's like we're gonna see how he does to Cruyff's motherland. Let's see how he does.
But that's what you want from players. Like you want them. Like you don't let the ball come to you. Sometimes, like sometimes you have to go get the ball,
yeah,
and like you have to be in the right spaces, and that like if Papu Gomez is like probably wanted to like turn around and take a shot, and then just like bounce, like you said, like he had a really heavy turn.
yeah,
Oh, like that was the worst.
yeah.
When
We'll
I look
move.
at it
We'll
again,
move on. We'll move on to the next one so we can get these out of it. 'Cause we got a lot of games to go. So, Japan versus Croatia. Um, I will. Did you guys have Japan or Croatia?
You missed it. Did you skip the France, Poland, and then England, Senegal?
No, they're in.
No.
They're in the next bracket.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I picked
I
Japan.
I picked Croatia.
I picked Croatia as well.
What a dummy, dude.
I mean, they went to penalties. Come on.
Yeah, they. I think I said it. I remember saying this in the preview when we were saying that I just think it's gonna come down. These teams are like very good collectively and play really good collectively, and I think it was gonna come down to individual brilliance. And I think going to the penalties, it just showed you that it was just Croatia had the better penalty kicker.
Yeah, there
And
were terrible penalties by
yeah,
Japan. I mean, there's only one team that they're worse in penalties, but we'll leave it for later.
we'll go on to the talk about that team, but yeah, it was how I said it was just individual performance. There was a great moment. I don't know if you guys were watching the game, but Modric was subbed off, I believe,
Yeah,
at
like in the late minutes. Yep.
yeah at the late minutes, and the standing ovation that he received from the players and the commentator was mentioning that could this possibly be his last World Cup match?
Not
And
even World Cup. At that time, it was like, could this be his last match for the
yeah,
national team?
that's why I said the last World Cup match for him. And everybody was standing and giving him ovation, and I think it was just
Well,
really,
how old is he? He's like
really
37, right?
yeah.
Something.
He's I think he's 37, 38 already. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was just really a beautiful moment to see in the World Cup. But I'll go with you, Jordan, first. So, what your thoughts about this game?
Well, yeah, it was a beautiful moment, especially if you're a Real Madrid fan. You love that a lot.
Yeah.
But what this game showed me was that I don't know if you guys know this, but Perisic is much more of a bigger part in this team than than we thought of before in the past World Cups. And there was an interesting stat watching today's games today on Tuesday that Perisic, Messi,
Cristiano
Shaqiri, and Cristiano Ronaldo are the only four players to score in 3 World Cups. And I think that's very interesting because Perisic, although he plays on the left, he's a big part in every team he plays in. You see him at Spurs now being a big part in that team, even though he's like 33, 34. With Bayern Munich helping them win the Champions League, with Inter helping them win the Cup, the League and the Cup. So, like, you're looking at him, an old player, and he's still playing really good. And I think we're going to look back and think Perisic was a big player, not like a Messi or Ronaldo, but he's going to be a player that we will remember and be
Oh,
like,
a cult
that guy was
player,
great.
that
Yeah.
you could call him.
A cult
Even
hero.
though I'm not
Like
a big fan.
Cole hero.
I,
A Cole hero, you mean.
Cold hero
But yeah,
and this Croatian team for sure.
yeah,
I
no,
think
and
Japan
the
had a
team
lot of
seemed bad as
chances,
well.
too.
Like
Japan had a
Inter.
lot of chances to win this game. The goalie for Croatia, who also plays in the Croatian league, coming up big
Livakovic.
for them. Saving, how many penalties was it? 3 or 2?
He saved 2.
That's really hard to do, but I've heard recently that it's very easy to predict penalties because now you have like videos of every penalty a player has ever taken.
I mean,
But it was still very interesting to see. But yeah, that's all I have for that game. I picked Croatia to win, and I think it reminded me of the last year's World Cup because they also went on penalties in that World Cup.
Yeah, Junior,
Right.
your thoughts on the Croatian game?
like the same thing. I feel like if Japan would have done a little bit much, and they had a lot of attacking chances, both of them, but I just think Japan is missing some piece. Also, that can make them a really good contender for or just being Asian champions at one point. That'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
Finally, what you call a big nation that's really big into football. One of the Asian countries that's really big in football.
Yeah.
To have a really good World Cup, and they have just a bigger part of it would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
So I was rooting for them. I felt like they could have, and this seemed like they're into like now the fighting spirit of it. Like they're doing more fouls. But now it's just like where to do the fouls, tactical fouls. Like if you see like one guy going 1-on-1, or like do I tackle? Do I
Yeah.
I mean, you don't like to see these kinds of things, but it happens.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a team effort, and it's what's gonna get me to win. It's not this. I mean, I don't mean like to do a Luis Suarez and put your
Right. Yeah, but
a
you
handball
just
when you're the goalie.
you just want them to have like a little bit of a.
a little bit, yeah, that warrior. They call him,
I think they need
samurai. They need a little
the
bit.
Mamba mentality, so to speak, like the competitiveness to try to fight for every ball. But I don't think that they need to like foul you. I think they just need to play harder. But even how they were playing very with good sportsmanship, they took Croatia to the penalties, and Croatia is a big team in Europe and in the World Cup. They're a very good team. So I don't think they have. I think they have little things to improve on, but I think if they continue playing this way, I think they could continue and possibly even win a World Cup because they are a very good team and they do have a lot of young players in that side.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is off
Uh,
topic, but I was
I'm
gonna mention like
we're gonna
that
move
the
we're gonna move on to the Brazil South Korea game.
right.
I said we got a lot of things to talk about, so I want to keep moving. All right, Brazil South Korea. Um, yeah, this was it was really over by halftime. This
I thought they
was
were gonna score more.
yeah, this could have been way worse than what it actually was. 4-1 at the end. Um, but overall, just a really great performance of Brazil. Um, And I'll leave this up to you guys, and you guys can answer when I go to you guys. But is this a performance of how good Brazil is, or just how poor South Korea was? I'll go with you first, Jordan.
It's a mixture of both, but it was more of just Brazil. So many attacking options that they have, and even their center backs attack you, and you're like, well, what could I do? Like they do have good players defensively. They have Kim and Kim and Kim and Kim. They're all very talented players. Their goalkeeper, I think, was
So dumb.
the thing that kind of had them not in a good position because I think that's the big. I think he cost them some chances because some of them looked like he could have stopped them. Again, the penalty I don't think should have been called a penalty. Richarlison is obviously going in for that foul, and he barely touches the player, and he gets marked a foul. And I think if that game goes on and that's not called a penalty, I think South Korea are still in it. But yeah, just Brazil dominating, and I think it was weird to see them win 4-1 because, like you said, they could have probably scored more. And I think they don't have. I think they're like, oh, we're cruising now, so they were like, oh, let's put them out, which is a good idea because you have other games to look forward to. So that's all I gotta say. Just Brazil being themselves, like always.
Your thought, Junior?
The same thing, but also I feel like the game was played to this. I think Korea didn't plan to counterattack their way of playing. They were just like, oh, we're gonna play our style, and then, I mean, Brazil's gonna punish you if you're gonna play to attack. They're just gonna counter you. So I feel like it's a little bit of both, but more on the South Korea, like the way they were playing, because even as
Yeah.
impressive this was, like they still missed a lot of chances.
Yeah.
So I feel like these, like, and what we've seen with Spain, like these results can be deceiving in some sense.
Yeah.
Like you feel like these teams are like way overpowered, and then when they face like another country that's actually, doing something against them, then you see how like their deficiencies.
Yeah.
So I still want them to. I mean, and it's coming up, the players that are gonna play, but see what they could do to a different type of playing style against them.
Yeah. All right, on to the next game, England Senegal. 3-0 win for England. Marcus Rashford with a brace. Senegal never looked to really give England any more trouble. Jude Bellingham just bossing that midfielder. A lot of us had spoken about how we thought he should have been playing in that Euro team, but yeah, Junior, your thoughts on this game?
Well, also shout out to Declan Rice, Chelsea product. I say
Oh my God.
this team will not function without a Declan Rice. Let me tell you that. The way he defensively, he's intercepting balls and try to be in the front foot of like where these passes are gonna go. I think it's fundamental for a team that's playing a 4-4-2. You kind of need that type of player. So also shout out to Declan Rice. And finally, he's listening to playing the players that are actually, you know, having a better momentum. And you saw what that meant to Harry Kane. He gets more freedom up front to create something and be more lethal than just having, him up.
Yeah.
And a Phil Foden.
Yeah. Jordan, your thoughts?
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. I was laughing at what you said, lethal. You said it funny. I was laughing at that. You said lethal. Lethal. But yeah, England dominating like always. Still haven't got scored on. The only game they got scored on was that Iran game. You see, I think Jordan Pickford might win the Golden Boot. He's playing his best goalkeeping time. He's being the best player at this tournament and goalkeeping wise, and considering clean sheets. And who would have thought that the Golden Boot and the player in the Golden Glove would be for Everton? Who would have thought that that those players would be the ones that being doing their best out of all? But yeah, Harry Maguire had a good save in the first half where he was 1-on-1 versus a Senegal player and he deflected it perfectly when the Senegal player was going to attack.
You're talking about Richarlison?
Richarlison's in Spurs now.
No. Oh, well, yeah, now, but before he was at Everton. I was just taking a shot at Everton because, they're pretty bad. But Harry Maguire had a good...
because he's managed by an ex-Chelsea player.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying because Everton...
But also, Pickford hasn't, it's not like he has gotten a lot of, kicks on him either.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll make the save for when he's needed, but it's not like people are attacking.
Well, he had a couple of saves in the Senegal against Senegal, and I think they were pretty hard. And he had some where like a free kick was kicked to him, and he perfectly measured it to just put his body in the way of the goal. And I think he's getting very in tune with his with the defense, because the defense seems like they are listening to him, and that's a big part of being a goalkeeper, of having the attention of your defenders. Harry Maguire played good. John Stones played amazing. Kyle Walker played amazing. Harry Kane finally got his goal, although I think he should have maybe gotten taken out at the second half. I found it weird that they rather put in right wingers and left wingers instead of taking out the striker who's an aging 30-something-year-old, and take out a young Saka and Foden to put in Rashford and who's the other guy that they put in? Grealish. I just think that maybe, and especially when you already secured the win you're winning 1-0, maybe take out Harry Kane, give him some rest instead of trying to like keep him in and risk an injury, because you never know when injuries happen, especially to aging strikers.
Yeah. The next game, France versus Poland, 3-1 victory for France. A lot of people saying that this is Mbappe has been showing just that this is his World Cup and France's. Very good performance from the French team. Lewandowski scoring a penalty late on to get his first goal in the World Cup. And I think he actually was showing some emotion of just how much that meant to him. But Junior, I'll start with you about this team.
Yeah, like I said, it comes to individual performance. You can see how good France is, but at the end of the day, like if they're not going to do something with it in attack, and it kind of makes me wonder what it could have been. And with the Benzema game plan, so how could it changed? Benzema would have been at the end of some of these chances.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to change to a Giroud, and Giroud is scoring now, it kind of tells you like where it could have been different for Benzema. He could have got more goals. I mean, it's not the same as a Giroud and a Benzema. Benzema will try to create something for himself, and a Giroud will kind of play off other people. So, and most of the teams would be better for a Benzema than a Giroud, and like the same thing. I think this is Mbappe's, team. The way he creates for himself and those shots is just,
yeah.
You're like, wow, he made that.
Yeah.
Like, you can see like he didn't stop that like from so far. For like, there's just the power, the way like you weren't expected as well, because like it's fast with the ball. Like and that's what you have great footballers. They just think fast.
Yeah.
I think Thierry Henry said that.
Yeah.
One of the idols of this French.
Yeah. Jordan, your thoughts on this game?
France are proving why they were world champions the last 4 years, and they've proven that they're continuing to grow from those 4 years. They did it slip up, although the Benzema injury was a big injury, and Lucas Hernandez injury was a big injury. They're still there. But I think this game didn't really show that France dominated. They did score 3-1, but I feel like this was more of showing how Poland were unprepared for Mbappe. Because they just, for one of the goals, no one's in the way of the shot, and he shoots at the first post very low, but with power, and the goalkeeper is not ready for it. You could tell that Mbappe is just a different breed, exposed the Poland defense. I think at the end of the day, this Polish team was way better offensively than defensively, and that showed in that game. And especially against Argentina, it showed when they were losing, they put more defenders because they knew if we play with our defenders that we have, we're going to get screwed. So I think this just showed that France are the team to beat and probably are the favorites, as like Brazil and like Argentina.
Yeah. On to the I think the shock of the World Cup, honestly. Morocco versus Spain. Morocco beating Spain in on penalties. Spain not being able to score one single penalty. Um, I wish I could have sent it when what I was gonna send to the group chat, cause as literally at the last minute when Sarabia had that chance and he missed it, I just felt like Morocco were gonna win this. I felt like that the whole momentum was in the Morocco, and I was like, and I had predicted, I was like, yeah, Morocco's gonna win this penalty shootout, and Ashraf Hakimi, Real Madrid Academy Youth
Predicted,
Credit.
predicted, or were you just felt after watching the whole game? I mean, prediction is before the game.
Well, I
It even
predicted the
starts.
penalty shootout that
It's
Morocco
if
were
I
gonna
see
win.
somebody like a boxer getting beat, left and right, and I'm
You
like, ah, that
you
boxer's
you
gonna
mean
lose.
like you had a feeling Morocco were gonna win because
But you
after
were
watching the
seeing
whole
like
game.
a bloodbath.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
didn't even get a
I
goal.
had Spain winning the game, but after what I had seen, I was like Morocco's gonna win this
Yeah,
penalty shootout. I just had a feeling in me that Spain were gonna lose in this penalty shootout, but um, the coldness that Hakim did that Panenka, man, that was just beautiful and dirty to do, and
What'd you say?
especially in front of the Spanish flags, the Spanish fans. I mean, uh, Jordan, I'll go with you first on this game.
What did you say? Coños?
Did I say what?
Coños?
Coños.
Yeah, you said something of Hakimi to take of do Palenka.
Panenka.
cold.
Yeah, but what'd you
Cold.
say before that?
Cold.
Oh, I thought you said like corneos, like balls, like the balls to do that. I was like, what? But what was I gonna say? You say it was a surprise to everyone. I think after the past World Cups that we've seen Spain, I think you always think Spain could
Well, I
magically
say
screw up
surprise,
one
and
game.
I just say shock as at how big Spain is as a footballing nation, and compared to Morocco and the big players that Spain has. I would say.
Well, you
I
guys
would.
Yeah,
better
compared to Morocco, they're big, but like they just won 3 titles in a row, and then they dropped off because all the players aged. I think at least this was a big match for Luis Enrique to show that he's the right man. At the end of the day, penalties isn't everything. I think if this game goes through a golden goal, I think Spain would have won it. But at the end of the day, penalties it's a 50-50 shot. Bono, who is a Sevilla player, it must have been interesting playing this game. Great goalkeeping from him. Like you say, saving every shot but one that got deflected off the post. But you just think this was just a perfect chance for Spain. But they have so many young players that I think this is like the USA. It's a building block. I think all these teams that have lost in this stage, I think they shouldn't be saying, "Oh, it's a disappointment." I think this is a chance for them to grow from this because a lot of these teams have a lot of young players, and in 4 years they might be ready again for this. It's all about qualifying, like you say. But yeah, just you always hope Spain wins, but lately there have been a lot of disappointments with Spain.
Yeah. Junior, your thoughts on this game?
Well, I don't know if you know, like this is a stat. They've only won 3 games since 2010 in World Cup,
Wow.
which means they've only won once at 2014, 2018, and then one against this World Cup. That's kind of crazy and it makes you wonder, like, the same thing. It's the attacking third. They could pass the ball and they could control the game, but at the end of the day, if you're not scoring for me, and it all goes down to, like, what was the team that you had that you brought in with you?
Right.
And the reason you don't brought Jorge Moreno was why. The only reason you don't brought Jack Wasp was why. Jorge Iglesias, the same thing. Like, we know these aren't, like, you're not going to be here 4 years' time, but you got to take the players who are in form.
Right.
And the same thing. Why are you playing Asensio as a false 9 when that's not his strength?
Yeah.
Why not play him as a 10? That's his strength. Why not play him as a winger and then have Ferran Torres, who has played in the middle?
You could tell Junior's mad because he's a big Barcelona guy, and to see a Barcelona coach lose, it hurts him so much. And the past World Cups, he's like, oh, they're bad managers when they're Real Madrid coaches, but when it's a Barcelona coach, he's like, it's just attacking third. Everything else is perfect.
Well, no, that's how it's been.
Just joking.
Well,
dude.
no,
Just joking.
that's I mean, that's what was said about this Barcelona side until they got that Lewandowski. That, like, yeah, you can have the possession, but you're still losing these games, and you feel with, like, Lewandowski there, he's been able to get behind those chances and be that goal threat that they've been missing, recently, and yeah, I think not taking Borja Iglesias, that he's been, like, he was up there with Benzema last year as the as the
His best years.
and to not take a player like that that's been, you know, scoring the goals for
And another
Betis.
thing, when like you're gonna take Morata, and then, like, he is your goal threat. So why isn't he, like, you know?
Yeah,
Why do you have other players not? And it was interesting that when you were watching I was watching the match, and then, like, apparently, like, he was telling him Ferran Torres to get inside the box to score. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do as a forward? Like, get inside the box. Like, it's important to stay out wide to create, some space, but then you have that space, so get in that space. You can't just leave it open for, like, you waiting for the ball. Like, get in that space. The same thing with Dani Olmo.
yeah.
He was just creating space, but you gotta, and
You
it's
need
weird
someone.
that these
You
players,
need you need someone to attack those spaces that are being created.
yeah, but it's weird. Like, these players do this for their clubs, and then when they come to the national team, why are they doing the same thing?
One thing I want to say is I think that 7-1 against Costa Rica ended up biting them in the butt, because they think they started that game and then they were like, oh, we're the best. And then they got a real reality check against Germany that you're not the best. You need to do better. And then again, they struggled. And then they struggled against Japan and lost, right? They lost against Japan.
Yeah.
So now you see that team that I think that ended up costing them. And because Dani Olmo and not really their striker scored, so I think Luis Enrique has the idea, oh, maybe we don't need a striker. Maybe we keep on playing with the false 9. But I think at the end of the day, Morata has been struggling. If he is your number one striker, and you're not taking Gerard Moreno, you're not taking Borja Iglesias, then why don't you start him at the first game? And I think Luis Enrique is still caught up with the Barcelona. And I think he needs to try to change his playing style, because not every player is going to play like Barcelona.
Well, it's not. I don't know if you remember when he was playing when Barcelona was playing. They were more direct. They weren't just, like, kind of waiting and making passes. But at the same time, it's like you have a Messi, you have a Neymar. They don't have a Messi or a Neymar. They have a really good Busquets. This is not the same Busquets. Like, the fact that Busquets is starting every game.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing to this guy? He's not gonna give you a full game. I've been saying it. Like, or if you're gonna have him on, he's gonna need a partner. And you're just not dropping a Pedri to cover with him. You're having Pedri more up front. And you're go run a box to box, and he's gonna get tired eventually. Especially if you're playing every game. You don't play now Marco Llorente. You're not playing Rodri. why did you take Ugamion if you're not? What's his name? The Valencia guy. You're not gonna play him center back. That's literally, and he's having a good season. Like if you were saying like I'm just taking him because I just need to fill that up a space. Even put Aspilicueta there. He's
Yeah.
great center back. He plays from the back.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah, at the end of the day, all the Spain teams, they've had a good striker. Even when they won the Euro in 2012, their striker didn't score much, but they've always had a good striker that absorbs some of the defense's attention because they're like, oh, this guy could do something, and that opens up the midfield more because now they have to drop back to cover the striker. But yeah, we're all it's a disappointment actually for Spain. Like I've been saying that everybody who has like, even though you lost, you're still improving. I think Spain is dropping back in how they do.
Yeah.
I just feel like no, they're as just like it's
Last
the same
thing,
thing. It's just, like,
before we move on, go ahead, Jordan.
I think you kind of just like the same thing with Germany. You kind of stick with your older players, and then you just can't do that because at the end of the day, you're tarnishing their career by still putting them on because they're not gonna say no to you putting them on.
Yeah.
And you as a footballer, you think you can still do it, but reality is just like you can still do it, but not at that intensity anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big reason why this Spain kind of, disappointed.
All right, on to the last game of the round of 16, Portugal versus Switzerland. Um, Portugal beating Switzerland 6-1. I don't think anybody,
Super Bowl shocking.
nobody expected this scoreline. We thought Switzerland were gonna make it really difficult for Portugal, but Portugal just running away with it. Um, a hat trick from Gonçalo Ramos, striker from
Goncalo, his name is Don Goncalo.
yeah, but you said it Gonçalo.
No, they said when they were talking in the game, there's Goncalo.
Yeah.
That's how they were saying it.
All right,
Supposed to be
Gonçalo
Portugal.
Ramos, hat trick for him, coming in as a replacement for Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo going into the bench.
21 years old too.
Yeah,
That was like,
and that was his first ever start for Portugal as well. So just really showing what his quality, or
uh,
or how the lack of quality for Switzerland.
the new weather.
No.
I don't know. We'll see. There's still
Yeah.
more to see, but really good performance for Portugal. Really showing what their, how I said, their individual quality of what they're able to do. Um, and just expecting more from Switzerland, but just not being able to replicate that Euro form against this Portugal side. I don't think the Portugal side is, up there with the France and Brazil. I mean, France and Brazil's and Argentina quality for contenders, but still a very good side with their individual players. Um, Junior, I'll go with you first about this team, about this game.
Like I said, like it was like kind of Switzerland opened it up for Portugal to play their way, and then can't get them in the counters. Like disappointing from the Switzerland team. I don't know if it was because they're tired. Like the same thing. You're playing the same 11 guys, and they're playing all three matches. Like at one point they're gonna break. They're just it's just kind of physically. You think you could do it, but it's just the intensity of these games. It's like if you're playing Champions League football, for a month, like, and then like the end there was a winner. Like it's gonna get to you. Like you play against Chelsea, Barcelona, Milan.
Especially the temperatures and the humidity that really
Yeah.
affects the players.
But a good showing, but Portugal unexpected. That's really good. That's gonna be really good for them going into the match against Morocco.
Jordan, your thoughts?
I want to talk about Switzerland first. They did lose, but I saw a lot of great players in that lineup. I think they do have a lot of talent, but at the end of the day, Portugal, their defense and midfield just didn't allow them to do anything. Bolo didn't really have that many chances. Whenever he had a run, I think it was in the second half. He was trying to go past everybody, but Ruben Diaz just manhandling him, fouling him, like trying to stop him, and I think that cost them with just having one striker. I think they should have put Seferovic in the beginning to have two strikers up there. but just having one kind of doesn't let you do anything, especially with just they couldn't really do that much. Even though they do have the talent, they try to build and build and build, and then they would get corners, and the corners. I hate that in corners they're hitting it to the front post, and they don't do anything. Like hit it to the deep end where you know a goalie won't get it, because it doesn't make sense to keep on kicking it front, 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 and then the corners are low. They just kick it out, and then it's a throw in. It's like it was a waste of possessions like that that cost Switzerland. But it is they did good. They did what was expected of them of getting out of the group stage, and they just went against a World Cup favorite of Portugal. And on Portugal's end, that Goncalo Ramos goal was a complete surprise because he just got it on his foot, and the defender didn't expect him to do anything. Jan Sommer doesn't expect a shot at the front post, and it just goes over him. And I think that opened the floodgates for Portugal, because then they were thinking, oh, now we got to focus on this guy, who shouldn't have even started. I think they were saying at the broadcast that he wasn't even supposed to be the guy picked for the striker to take Ronaldo's spot. But at the end, the coach decided, and he was like, all right, we'll give you a chance. And
Yeah.
he made the most of it, and he scored 3 goals, very impressive goals. Most of them poacher-like goals, just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Leao scores a late 6, which was a goal that you saw Jan Sommer just couldn't read it. I think Jan Sommer, after getting scored 5, I think he didn't expect another shot to come in, and Leao just scores a finesse, not a tight finesse at the edge, but just a perfect finesse to Jan Sommer couldn't react.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to say, who I think played the biggest part in this team, besides Ramos and William Carvalho, was Octavio. Octavio played an amazing game in the midfield.
Yeah.
He was everywhere. He was getting fouls. He was talking to the ref, trying to get cards on their side. It worked a lot, and I think he was a big part of that midfield thing, especially because he was in the back with Carvalho, and it let Bruno Fernandes and Cocalo Ramos just go up, and Bernardo Silva too. But yeah, just an impressive game of Portugal. Definitely showing that they're for reals this year.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You know, Leao grabbing a goal for himself as well. Just a very solid performance from Portugal. Um, okay, we're gonna go ahead and really quickly go over our quarterfinals predictions. How we see these teams lining up, and what we think are the semifinals gonna somewhat look like. The first game at Netherlands Argentina. How I said, we've been talking about how just good defensively Netherlands try to be with those 5 defenders and 5 defenders and a really tight midfield, trying to close the spaces for Argentina and especially Messi. I can see this game going either way, but my heart says Argentina, but my brain says Netherlands. But I'll go. I'll go Argentina. I'll just go Argentina just so I can keep saying my prediction of of my predicted final. So I'll go Argentina in this game. Um, Jordan, very quickly, your prediction for this game.
I got Argentina, just thinking that midfield might cause some trouble.
Junior.
The same Argentina, but it's going to be a big game for Scaloni facing a very well-versed manager in Van Gaal. I think that if Argentina could get past the this Netherlands, then we know we have something special with this Argentina. If not, then that's the end of that.
Yeah.
The Messi dream.
The next game, Croatia versus Brazil. I just think we've seen it. They are gonna have a lot of rest between these games before their next game on Friday. But I just feel like this Brazil team is gonna overpower that this Croatian team. just because we've seen it in their game against Japan. They seemed really slow and very tired towards the end. Um, and I just feel like the Brazil has a lot of Italian options and very fast, able to transition from defense to offense, and catch this Croatian team on the break. So I'm gonna go with Brazil. Junior, your prediction?
The same. I just feel like we still haven't seen the best of Brazil, which is kind of scary that we still haven't seen the best Brazil when I feel like when they get a team that's actually, I want to see how they do with the stronger team that Croatia will be, and they're going to have the ball more and they're going to make some dangerous plays. But it's still at the end of the day, Brazil in the counter is very dangerous, especially if they have a very fit Neymar. I don't know if you could see during the game, you could still see like he was,
Yeah.
that injury was kind of like bothering him. So if they have with these rest days and then you see a fully fit Neymar, then that's kind of tough to beat.
Jordan, your prediction?
Brazil. I just think Croatia barely skated out of that game against Japan. But they are a very good team who could give Brazil trouble and could be the thing that Brazil needs, a very competitive match, because Croatia don't really play to you. They force you to play to their level. They showed against France, scoring 2 goals against France, who has a way better defense than Brazil. That we'll just see how Brazil handles it. I could see it even going to penalties, but I'm gonna say Brazil on the basis of that Brazil has been outscoring their opponents by more than Croatia.
All right. England, France versus Morocco, Portugal. I mean, my bad. I read that wrong. England versus France.
Like what? It's a 2-on-2.
A tag team match.
I'm like, that's the new thing.
England, England versus France. How we Jordan had mentioned it. England just very good defensively. Um, that could be a part too of what the opponents they've been facing, but still, a merit, no doubt that they've been able to keep a clean sheet. A France team that just shows how powerful they are offensively. This team kind of reminds me of the Real Madrid of Zidane, where they're just we're gonna outscore you. Don't matter how many goals you score on us, we'll just outscore you. Um,
France.
France, yes.
I was, yeah, I was thinking more that was a Brazil.
No, I feel like this France team is definitely it because with Mbappe, Griezmann, Giroud, and Dembele, they just
Yeah, but
the
I
front
don't
four.
think they've really gotten that much goal scored on them. I think their defense has been done very well. I think they just played the tactic of once we score, we're going to continue to score, and you can't go past us, so we'll just keep on scoring because they don't really get scored on. They have Varane, they have what's his name?
Well,
Theo
they
Hernandez
well
has been
they've
playing
led
really well on the left backs.
they've led a goal for every match they played in this World Cup so far.
Yeah,
So
but Brazil,
that's why I
like
say that
their defense is just
they just are very good offensively. I mean, but yeah, I still go for France. Um, I just that you just look at the back four, Maguire, and and you just feel like they're gonna be trying to get in behind them and trying to threaten that trying to uh single them out in that defense.
Well, I think another thing that's helped is the way they have Kyle Walker. I think he's on his side, right? He's right next to him.
No, he's on. Uh, Maguire plays on the left side, so it'll be Dembele going up against him.
No, I mean like who has? Doesn't he have
Kyle Walker plays on the side of Mbappe.
No, on the side of Maguire. Like he's next to him, right? He plays on the right
No,
side.
Maguire is
No.
next to Luke Shaw.
Yeah,
Oh, Luke Shaw. Good.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, like that helps that the other players like that you have on your side are more defensive. Because if they win, if they had a Chilwell or who attacks more, or if you had a Trent Alexander-Arnold attacking more, I feel like that would expose them more. And I think Southgate did and knows that. So I feel like they're gonna, try to be more defensive, especially with an Mbappe and a Dembele.
Yeah. Jordan, your prediction?
This is the game that has my brain in a where it could go either way because I know you guys are like, oh, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw, oh, they play bad for Manchester United. They haven't been playing good. But this tournament, they've really shown why they got called up. They've been playing very well. Again, having got scored on after that Iran game, they're they play amazing. But you always think that England, whenever they go against a great like a Maradona, this is the stage where you could show I am a great player and I could defeat them. And I think this is a big game for Mbappe because we all know the English media likes to pump up players, especially when they beat England. So I think this is a really big game for Mbappe in the long run in the history books because it is a World Cup match, it is a quarterfinal, and it is against England, one of the nations that started soccer. So I think this is a real big game for France. England don't really have nothing to lose. They're kind of the underdogs in this game, and I haven't really seen though it's coming home lately in my feed on Instagram. So I think this might be the year it comes home for England. I haven't really been seeing that much attention to England. I've been seeing a lot of critics towards England. So I think in the long run, I saw England, I could see France, but I'm sticking with England going through. And I think this might be the shock of the World Cup, and we might see Mbappe leaving early, even though he has been playing very well. And this is a prediction, an opinion. I could also see France beating them, but my pick is England.
Okay.
I'm just saying because you could see France beating them, but
Yeah,
at
that's
the
the
end of
whole
the
thing.
day, when I look at it in my head, when I think about it, I'm
That's
trying to think about what happens. I could imagine Southgate being congratulated by the champs after beating them, because at the end of the day, people criticize him. They criticize why he picks Maguire. They criticize why he picks this, but I think he
Shout out to
did it.
France, though.
Well, we don't know that, but France, we do know they are on the World Cup curse, and you guys both picked France, so we'll see who's laughing at the end of the day.
Alrighty.
Argentina.
With all right, with the
I
last
mean, if I
game.
was Argentina, or who was gonna face them, or whoever, Portugal, Morocco, I'd rather have England, honestly.
Yeah. All right, Morocco, Portugal. This Moroccan side showing, very
Great.
good show going how far this team can come with those special players. I think Ziyech is 28 or 29, I believe,
He's, yeah, he's 29.
and Hakimi is a 23, 24ish.
Mm.
Size over there in his 30s, and Mazarawi, I think he's like 22, 21, very young. So Amrabat, well, we didn't talk about him, but Amrabat was really securing that midfielder for them against that Spanish team.
Valencia legend.
Um, so I think Portugal is gonna win this one still. We talk about these teams that it comes down to individual. On that night Spain weren't able to deliver, but I just feel with the amount of threat that they actually have, this Portugal side, with Felix, Leao, Fernandes, João Felix, and Goncalo Ramos. I just feel like this Portugal side should be able to beat this Moroccan side. Start with you first, Jordan.
Yeah, I wish you would have gone to junior. I said I wish you would have gone to junior first because I think these are the games where you instantly want to go for the favorites because they are the team that's more experienced in these situations. Morocco, a very young team, but I kind of root for them because they are kind of an underdog in out of all these 8 teams. Same like Croatia, but they're the true underdogs that no one expected them here. They just upset a team But usually when you upset a team, it's very hard to upset 2 times in a row. But
Unless you're Real Madrid.
well, they were favorites still because they had a good team. They're always in there. They're never underdogs. They've never been an underdog. They don't even know the definition of an underdog. But I'm gonna pick Portugal because
I mean, unless you were
after
the
that
English
game, they were
media.
amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I would have to say Portugal goes through. Although you would want to see more Morocco and these underdogs go through, I think at the end of the day it's Portugal.
All right, Junior, your thoughts, your prediction
Yeah,
for
the
the game?
same he was saying. It's just the talent that Portugal has. That like, and you again, Spain doesn't have a Rafael, a guy that's very direct and who has a shot from outside the box.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that as Spain was just wanting to get inside that 18-yard box and try to create something there. Where you're like, they're not going to let you have a 4-4 block. Are you even going to get inside there? And when they did, they didn't. They didn't score, and that's not going to happen to this Portugal side. Like Portugal side, and you saw it with Goncalo Ramos inside there, just like turned and then shot it. Spain didn't have that.
Yeah.
And just like the fact that they have that more directness to attacking, I feel like this is Portugal's game to lose.
Yeah. 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 I said. Portugal have very good offensive weapons. Morocco.
And midfield.
Yeah, in midfield. Aguerd.
Defense too, dude.
Aguerd, that West Ham defender, really solid in Spain. Unfortunately, came off injured.
Who we're talking about?
Aguerd, the defender for Morocco, really good performance against Spain. What did I say?
You said Spanish team, I think.
No, he just said Morocco.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Spanish team. My bad.
Yeah,
no, right, yeah, really good performance. I came off injured. Hopefully he's fit for the game, so they'll have him back. And that's another thing that a lot of these Moroccan players were like really tired and really exhausted. Hopefully that doesn't have to do anything because I have said they do have.
We're defending the whole game, kind of.
Yeah, they have 3 days of rest. So hopefully they'll be able to
be fit,
be up for it. Ziyech was one of those players that by the end he was just kind of walking everyone because he was just tired. Buffal as well, he was creating a lot of problems for the Spanish team, so hopefully they're up for it for this team. With that, that is our quarterfinals. That'll be the end of this show. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you guys can get a hold of our updates in our next show. We'll probably be doing another one more episode before the actual the quarterfinals start. Maybe talk a little more about these teams. Maybe talk about some of the other football news that have been going on. I know our focus has been on this World Cup because of its attention.
Maybe talk about transfer news in this next episode.
And talk about the latest news. Jordan, anything else you want to
add? Just that
don't say the
Portugal
catchphrase.
team the Portugal team really out of all these teams, I think they impressed me the most. And I found it interesting that Portugal kind of played better without Cristiano Ronaldo, which I don't know how that makes him feel. I think it doesn't matter to him as long as they get to the final, but they played very much better without him. I think Argentina wants to play with Messi, and France, they play for Mbappe. So you can see what these teams do with the big players. But I think these games come down to the whole team. I don't think these games are just the big players need to do their job. I think this is a game where everybody needs to come in together and go for that one goal, which is to win the title, to win the World Cup, to bring infamy to this year and to your teammates, to your coaches, to your nation, basically, because this is what they play for. But I'm just excited.
Junior, anything else you want to add?
It's a beautiful game.
If you
Surely.
watch this far, you must be a real dummy.
Dumb. Um, well, thank you guys for watching. Um, from Jordan Jr. and myself, there's been the latest installment of the Dummy Football Podcast. See ya.